Welcome to EKU Then and Now.
My name is Charlie Sweet. I'm co-director of the Teaching and Learning Center here, and I'll be one of your hosts.
And I'm Hal Blythe, co-director of the Teaching and Learning Center here at EKU, and I'm the other host.
We're joined today by a very special guest. I came to this university in 1970. Hal came in 72. And when I got here, we were both mentored. In fact, Hal shared an office with our guest. Our guest is Dr. Byno Rhodes, who was a professor in the Department of English from 1958 through 1983.
Welcome, Byno. We're glad to have you here. We have lots of fond memories of our times together, and we thought we'd share a little bit of that today.
The Chinese have a curse, may you live in interesting times. With 3 degrees from Vanderbilt, including a doctorate in 1951, you were in Nashville during a very exciting time, as Nashville was the home of what? The Southern Agrarians, the Fugitives, and the Formalists. Who were some of these people who may have influenced you?
The Fugitives were practically all gone from Vandy by the time I got there. I knew John Crow Ransom, and in fact I invited him to come here in the second or third year I was here, and we started the Creative Writing Conference. And he came, and I guess he's the only fugitive I had here. He had already left Vandy, was up north, but got in touch with him, and he came. He was very good.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
You had what? Robert Penn Warren, was he there?
They were all gone from Vandy by the time.
Okay.
One of the things that's always fascinated us about the teachers that you had, and we got to hear a lot about those in the years that we shared the office with you, is we were always fascinated by all the guys with 3 names.
Yeah.
Every one of them seemed to be Rob Roy Purdy,
Walter Clyde Curry.
Yeah.
and
He was chairman of the department.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Why did they all have 3 names?
Now, I don't know. That's just the way it went.
who was the most memorable person from your Vandy days?
Either Walter Clyde Curry or Donald Davidson. Donald Davidson was still there.
I remember you talking about him
He
quite
was
a
a
bit.
well-known writer.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess those were the 2. Of course, my major professor was important to me, and he's dead now, Ogden. I can't remember his name.
Mm-hmm.
He directed my dissertation, but he was a young fellow. He wasn't 2 or 3 years older than I am. Than I was then.
Yeah. It must have been a little bit different coming to a place like Eastern, and with your degrees from such a prestigious school as Vandy, coming to a regional school, to a comprehensive school, and back when you came, it wasn't even a university yet.
How big was Eastern back then?
It was a little under 3,000.
Oh, very
Just
small.
2,000 something, and they were only 12 teachers in the English department total.
What prompted you to make the change from Vanderbilt to here? Was it President O'Donnell?
I went from Vanderbilt to Lincoln Memorial University, and I was there 9 years. I liked it there, but my wife just did not like it. She was used to the city, and she just didn't like it there. And so we left there and came to Eastern, primarily because she just didn't like to stay there, but she wanted to move. And we came here to Eastern, and I spent the rest of my life, of course, here at Eastern.
Well, nowadays, the faculty have these large offices with computers, 1 person to an office. What about when you came? What were the offices like?
Well, they were small. My office you went down a little narrow hallway-like into a room that was just barely big enough for me and my desk.
And they use this to entice you to come from Lincoln Memorial, huh?
No, I didn't see the office.
So they didn't bring you in the way they do now for like a recruiting visit?
Yeah, I came and was interviewed by the president, And that was 2 years before Martin came here. O'Donnell was still president.
Okay.
And he interviewed me. And I went back to LMU and told him that I was going to come here. And the president there asked me not to leave him. He didn't have time to replace me. So I called him and told him I wouldn't come. But by Christmas, I got a call from Dr. Grice, and they still wanted me. And I went and told my president down there, and he said, well, that's fair enough. So I came on. Yeah.
You ended up with 3 degrees from Vanderbilt.
That's
What,
right.
2 of them were in Latin?
Latin and Greek. I took classical language before the war. I took my BA and MA in Latin and Greek, and I started teaching Latin at Vandy in the fall of 1941. And then the war broke out, and in March of 42, I went to the Army for 4 years. And then I came back to Vandy, and I changed they told me I'd better change my major because I wouldn't have any students.
Latin was dying, yeah.
Yeah. So I changed to English with minors in French and German. You had to have French and German if you took a degree in English at that time at Vandy. And I finished that at Vandy.
Yeah.
And then,
Other than your closet of an office, what are your most cherished memories of those early years here at Eastern, back in the late 50s, early 60s?
oh, I just about all I did then was classroom activity. Later, I was appointed to take charge of the Canterbury Club. That was the English organization, and they published the Bell-Let, and we took a lot of material, poems and short stories from my creative writing class, and so I was with them for several years.
Now, that's kind of interesting. Charlie and I were talking about this a little bit earlier. With your degrees in Latin and Greek and your languages, what led you to take up creative writing?
That's easy to answer. When I came here, he said I was going to teach creative writing. I said, well, I can't teach creative writing. I don't know anything about it. He said, well, you will have to, because the man that was leaving had been teaching creative writing. So I started teaching creative writing, and I taught it for 10 or 12 years.
That's interesting.
That's interesting because when I came, they told me I was going to teach creative writing also.
Well, did you?
I ended up teaching it, yeah, and we ended up eventually.
Well, you could do a better job of it than I could.
Well, it basically led us into a sort of a second career as creative writers. So it's interesting, though, that nowadays everybody has these specialties in grad school. You know, you're a specialist in what, late Victorian studies or something. But back when we came, it didn't really matter what you were specialized in. You did whatever they told you to teach.
Oh, yeah. I taught everything. I taught the freshman English and sophomore English, and then I had advanced composition and creative writing, and I taught Chaucer and Milton, the 18th century, and Greek and Roman drama in translation, and some of that's far enough. But after the start of graduate school here, we really got to be big time.
You remember when they started the grad school here?
No, I don't. It was.
I mean, it was operating by 70, so it had to be like in the late 60s.
Pretty early. It was 2 or 3 years after Martin became president.
Okay.
But I don't remember exactly what year.
Yeah, we became a university in '66.
I think.
wasn't it?
66.
So it's probably sometime.
That must have been about that time then.
But
That's right.
that was hard on a young professor, teaching that range of courses.
Well, I reckon they thought I could just teach anything, and so they just whatever they had. It was a matter of needing a teacher for a course. It didn't matter whether you were prepared for it or not.
Go in there and teach.
I just do the best I could.